My name is Anaya. Today I am rich, powerful, and respected. But before I got here, I had to learn one essential lesson. Justice is like a free buffet. Everyone talks about it, but only the privileged get access to it. Let me tell you how I discovered this great truth. I was 17, and unlike other students wasting their time making terrible TikToks, I had a plan for the future. I wanted to study finance and become a multimillionaire before I turned 30. I had the grades, the discipline, and most importantly, an ego big enough to believe that nothing could stand in my way. A naivete. It all started on a Monday morning when the principal of my high school, a balding old man desperately trying to hide his expanding forehead with 3 sad strands of hair, called me into his office. "Miss Anaya, we have a problem." I almost replied, "Your haircut, maybe?" But I held back. "Some money has gone missing from the administration safe. And wouldn't you know it, we found an envelope full of cash in your locker." I raised an eyebrow. He said it as if I were a seasoned criminal hiding my loot in a rusty old locker. "Oh, really?" I replied. "And you think that if I had actually stolen that money, I'd be dumb enough to leave it where anyone could find it?" "Guilty people sometimes make mistakes," he said, wearing a smug smile. I smiled too. Not because I found it funny, but because I had just realized something crucial. They weren't here to hear the truth. And who found the money in my locker? The head supervisor. Of course, the same supervisor who always looked at me sideways because, according to him, I acted too confident. Final verdict, permanent expulsion. No trial, no investigation, no right to a lawyer. If I had known, maybe I would have hired a TV lawyer like in Suits to make things more dramatic. That evening, things were even worse at home. My mother cried as if I had committed murder. My father sat in silence, probably wondering how he had managed to raise such a sloppy criminal. I was alone against the world. But what they didn't know was that Anaya never forgets. After that public humiliation, I could have spent my nights crying in bed while watching Korean dramas. But no, I took a job, then 2, then 3. Cleaning, deliveries, online sales. You name it, I did it. I saved every penny like an old grandmother hoarding her money. While my former classmates partied and posted ridiculous selfies with animal filters, I devoured books on finance and investing. And then one day, I discovered the stock market. From that moment, everything changed. I learned to play with money the way a conductor plays with his orchestra. Bit by bit, my earnings grew, and because a good revenge should never be half-served, I also took courses in cybersecurity. Not to do anything illegal, of course, just to understand how things could be done. By the time I was 25, I was a multimillionaire. But guess what? I still had a debt to settle. Where justice doesn't exist, I became my own law. Remember the principal of my old high school? He probably didn't remember me. He was too busy scamming other students, organizing useless meetings, and desperately trying, in vain, to hide his receding hairline. But I hadn't forgotten him. Years had passed. I had built my financial empire, and my life looked like a dream even Hollywood wouldn't dare to write. A penthouse with a panoramic view, well-stocked bank accounts, first-class travel, the whole package. But there was still a little shadow on the canvas. I hadn't settled my score with the past yet. So I did what any rational and mature woman would do in my situation. I took my revenge. And not just any revenge. Not some basic cliché confrontation where I storm into his office yelling, "You ruined my life," with dramatic background music. No. I wanted a masterpiece. A revenge slow-cooked, simmered to perfection, and served with elegance. Step 1. Finding the weak spot. I started by doing what any normal person in 2025 would do, stalking his LinkedIn profile. First observation. He had been promoted to regional director of private schools. So now, in addition to ruining the lives of innocent teenagers in one school, he had the power to ruin even more. Lovely. Second observation. His lifestyle was a bit too luxurious for a school director. Expensive watches, 5-star hotels, brand new cars, all on an educator's salary? Either he had won the lottery and forgotten to mention it, or something was shady. Guess what? It was the second option. Step 2. The trap. You know the beauty of the internet? You can find everything. And thanks to my contacts, and some unconventional investigative techniques I'll avoid detailing here, I discovered he was embezzling school funds. He had set up a well-oiled system. Fake invoices for renovation work, ghost employees, suspicious transactions. The kind of scam you'd see in crime TV shows, but executed by a man who thought he was smarter than everyone else. What he didn't know was that I had become a master of the money game. And his little game? I was about to destroy it. I built a rock-solid case. Irrefutable evidence, shady bank statements, anonymous testimonies from former employees who were tired of turning a blind eye. And then, I dropped the bomb. I sent everything to multiple journalists, an anti-corruption NGO, and, cherry on top, directly to his employer. Step 3. Public humiliation. Because it's more fun that way. A massive scandal erupted, headlines everywhere, government investigation, frozen accounts. I sipped my coffee as I read the morning news. School director accused of embezzlement, investigation underway. It was the most beautiful thing I had read in years. A month later, a video went viral. The principal, sweating, trying to explain to a panel of reporters that he was the victim of a conspiracy. I nearly spit out my tea. A conspiracy? Dude, if only you knew how much of a real conspiracy this was. The best part? His wife left him, taking half of his assets, and his own son posted a TikTok saying, "My dad is a fraud. I'm ashamed." Ah, the internet. What a magical place. Step 4. The final blow. You might be wondering, but Anaya, why stop there? Why not take it even further? Good question. That's why I bought the building of my former high school. Yes, you read that right. With a small portion of my stock market earnings, I purchased the building and turned it into an entrepreneurship training center. A place where students learn how to build their own businesses, manage their finances, and most importantly, never let anyone walk over them. On the day of the grand opening, I invited former students, and guess who happened to drive past the building? The ex-principal. We locked eyes through his car's tinted window. I raised my coffee cup in a little salute. He looked away. And me? I smiled, because in this world there are two types of people, those who suffer injustice and cry in a corner, and those who turn it into fuel for their rise. I think he finally understood which category I belonged to.